Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the new podcast, A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep Football. I'm very excited about this. As if you guys can tell on YouTube, those watching, we have a new background. We have our new logos. This is a podcast that is separate but equal from the Get Home Safe podcast that I've been doing the past couple of years. I've just felt that the Rio Hondo Prep brand needed its own platform. So here we are. It is June 4th, 2022. And I know some of you are wondering, like, Rio Hondo Prep, what do you mean? They're going into summer. There's no games or anything going on right now. Yes, I know that. But we are officially kicking off the 2022 football season here today on the first episode of the Charge to Keep podcast. Now, you guys can call it whatever you want. The Charge to Keep podcast, A Charge to Keep is the official title. However, it flows from your lips. I'm just happy to have you guys here, and I'm very excited about this adventure. 2 years ago, I started the Get Home Safe podcast and was just thrilled with how it has turned out, how it's evolved. Didn't know much about podcasting when I started. Some would argue I still don't, but I have enjoyed every second of it. And last year in 2021, when we did the Rio Hondo Prep weekly podcast show, I saw that there was a lot of potential here for Rio to have its own platform. There was an interest from people from all over the country, graduates, people from the past, future students. I thought this would be a great way for Rio Hondo Prep football to be taken to the next level. And I'm going to have with me here shortly Head Coach Mark Carson, who just finished a graduation last night of his 2022 seniors, a group of young men and women at that matter, who will definitely be a class to always be remembered for everything they had to go through. And then their legacy in Rio Hondo Prep football. The girls had an incredible softball season this year and the past couple of years. So this podcast is dedicated to Rio Hondo Prep football. However, there will be some Rio Hondo content throughout the season with boys and girls basketball, maybe some boys and girls volleyball, baseball, softball. I will do my best to put time and effort into this thing, to take it to the next level and to really just talk Rio Hondo Prep sports. But my dedication is to Rio Hondo Prep football. That is 10, 11, however many weeks the season goes. And then, of course, the playoffs. I think Rio Hondo Prep football is special. It deserves its own brand. Some of you guys may come at me, hey, how come you're not talking about boys basketball or girls softball? It's like, I'm going to get to it. I'll get there. I can't go to every game. I can at least pay attention to every football game. And again, the school tradition, it's been so good at so many things, but football has been the one constant, I will say, in Rio Hondo Prep. And I don't think that's any disrespect to any other programs at the school. We have great academics, great art department. There's all kinds of things that Rio does well, but my passion that I've newly discovered is Rio Hondo Prep football. This is an opportunity for me to give back, and I want to do this throughout the year. The Get Home Safe podcast is still my personal podcast, my viewpoints, where I'm going to bring people on still as guests to talk about their lives and their journey and everything. But the Rio Hondo Prep podcast here, A Charge to Keep, which is named after the school's alma mater. We'll play it at the end of every episode. And that's where we got the title from. And I just thought it was very fitting. So the nice RH logo there, which is on the football helmets now with which Coach Carson has kind of rebranded the program a little bit, but some of the things are still constant. And I'm really excited about this. Can't wait to jump on board, have Coach Carson jump on board here. We're going to talk about the summer program, what, now that the countdown to the football season is officially underway, and maybe talk about this podcast, some ideas. I just want to get Rio Hondo Prep football the credit it deserves, the attention it deserves. I want this. My plan, guys, no matter where my life takes me, is I want to do a Rio Hondo Prep football show every year from here until I am no more, and just give my heart and soul into this thing. So that is my plan. I've always been a huge sports fan, and I've mentioned before on the Get Home Safe podcast, I am I love my other teams, but they never loved me back. I was never a Ram. I was never a Laker, a Dodger. I was a Rio Hondo Prep care. And I think all of us can relate to that, even though we go about our daily lives and new adventures. And, we still want to check in on those Friday nights and see how the boys are doing. So anyway, The Charge to Keep podcast is here. We are off and running. I'm so excited about this. Let's bring on head football coach Mark Carson and talk to him about his excitement for this upcoming season and the new platform podcast and just everything Rio Hondo Prep football related. Let's bring on head football coach Mark Carson. Well, we are now joined by head coach Mark Carson. Mark, it is June 4th. It is never too early to start talking Rio Hondo Prep football. And now that graduation is behind us, it is officially football season. Welcome to the Charge to Keep podcast.
Let's go. Hey, Matt, great to be here. Thanks for all you do putting this together. I know our students, fan base, parents, alumni all look forward to hearing from you, and I can't wait to see the next level you go to in your podcast and promoting our program and all things RHP.
Well, you know, Mark, there's big time alumni out there. Some people you would consider like boosters and big donors and things. There's not much money in these pockets, but what I can give is my time and some content. So there's plenty of ways to support the program, and this is the way I choose. So we need to rally everybody and get them more involved, you know?
Hey, that's especially nowadays, reaching out via podcasts, social media, connecting each other, making people feel part of the program is awesome, and you're doing it off, far above and beyond what we would expect. So thank you.
Well, it's just it's an honor and a privilege to be considered part of the program and to have the access that you give me. When I graduated, like many guys do, you're kind of like, man, how am I ever going to let this go? And there was some years there where I went, tried other things, but it all comes circle back to the gridiron, the Rio gridiron. And here we are. And so this podcast is specifically Rio Hondo football, but we will dive into other sports. It's a little pressure on the other sports on campus to maybe, be consistent and make some title runs.
Yeah. Good for all of us to step up our game, and keep the spotlight on. So if that's a little pressure, fine. But I think I don't look at it as pressure. We look at it as opportunity, opportunity to shine, opportunity for greatness, and you can't do that without being in the spotlight.
Well, Mark, last year, I had the Get Home Safe podcast, which I'm still going to do, but I felt like Rio Hondo football needed its own platform, its own brand. It is its own brand here in Southern California. And I'm just so excited about this. Last year was like a test run to kind of do a weekly show with you and me and fan interaction. I thought it went great. And so that kind of really propelled me into doing this. And so here we are. This is almost like the SEC. Paul, I feel like Paul Feinbaum. We're talking high school football in June, but it's never too early. My plan for this, Mark, is to have, obviously, this is our June kickoff podcast. Maybe we'll check in with you in July, kind of like a midsummer update. And then once August hits, my plan is to go weekly, building up to the big game on August 26th against the El Monte Lions. What do you think, man? You up for all this?
Sounds great. Yeah. And June's a big month for us preparation wise. We start Monday with our training. We have 2 7-on-7s next week, one at Baldwin Park, one at La Cañada. And our guys are pumped up. New group, right? We're turning over. Really a great senior class, one of our all-time great classes. At the same time, though, it's time to focus on next year's group and what they're going to offer, what they're going to bring to the table. And you know what? I think people are going to like what they see.
Absolutely. We know we're going to get max effort from those guys and hard work from the coaching staff as well. While we mentioned that senior class from 2022, last night, in fact, they graduated. It's bittersweet, right? To see these young men and the women graduate and cross that threshold and turn the cap and gown and all that, but the tassel. Yeah. But it's great to see that, but you also, you're going to miss them. And there's so many great memories. I know that you had with that senior class the past few years.
Yeah. Without a doubt. They were, one of our best senior classes, I think. And, it's hard to rank them, right? It's hard to rank them, but the fact that these guys really the last 3 years were integral part of our teams, right? You go back to their sophomore year, 2019, and the role they played on that team, a lot of them were on the field. You know, JG steps in, and I think that was week 3 for injured Brian Flores at tailback, and pretty much runs away with the position, never relinquishes that just because he was too good to get him off the field, right? And then Gio, Jaden, Paul, Royal, Ray, Damien, of course, all these guys just played huge roles in that team. And then the 2020 season was the crazy lockdown, shortened season where we played spring football and went undefeated at 3-0. But the highlight of that was probably playing at the Rose Bowl against Pauley and winning that game 8-7 in an amazing game, come from behind win. And then last year's team, you know, we just despite our best efforts not to, steamrolled everybody, and probably put us in a playoff spot that we'd have been better off being somewhere else to make a run. But it gave us a great opportunity, and that was to play Charter Oak, and you know, really a once in a lifetime opportunity maybe to play them. And I think that win, from a coach's perspective, might carry more cachet than even winning the championship, you know. And so that was a great win for the program. So these guys are going to always be remembered for that. Really hard workers, great guys on and off campus, great leaders on campus, and it's a fun group that we're going to miss.
Yeah, seriously. And you know what, Mark, they remind me of, remember, I think it was Kentucky versus Duke, the Christian Leitner shot. That Kentucky group, I think they were called like the Unforgettables or something like that, because that group of guys, senior class, they hung around when Kentucky basketball was down and under sanctions or whatever, and they came up just short against Duke. That's who these guys remind me of. And Mark, I want to, off the bat here, I want to stir up a discussion. I want to get the alumni a little fired up. You had a nice speech last night. I'll give you credit, but there was about a minute there where you talked about this last year's team honoring the seniors, that although it was very well said, I think you might get a little pushback from some of the alumni. Let's go ahead and give that a listen. It's about a minute long.
Okay.
There've been a lot of great football teams in RHP history. You look along the south side of the gymnasium, you'll see 14 CIF championship banners up there. All great teams. Some great teams that didn't win the CIF championship. This team is one of those, did not win the CIF championship. Now, objectively, how do you measure how good they are stacking up against those teams and so forth? Obviously, I'm probably a little biased, very close to the situation, but I've seen most of Rio Hondo Prep football since I was a kid in the mid-'80s, going to games. And this is one of our top teams, if not the top. And Cal Preps, which ranks teams, they ranked this year's team, compared to all our other teams, as the best team in Rio Hondo Prep history. Now,
I don't know. I love those guys.
guys, we had a text chain going after our awards, and you can match up, do hypothetical matchups, the 2018 against 2021, and Cal Preps does the matchup and tell you who would win. And these guys beat all those teams that hung banners up there. Now, it's a small consolation, but yeah, you can give them a round of applause.
Okay. Oh, Coach Carson, you got a lot to say. I mean, look at, I love this senior class, but 14 CIF championships, there's a lot of great teams that didn't win a championship. I mean, if those words don't stir up the alumni talking RHP football right now, I don't know what will.
Hey, I'm glad that was recorded and glad that's out there, because hey, I'm all about it. Let's stir up the conversation. Let's have the conversation. And it was meant, and I tried to make sure I came across this way. There's no disrespect to past teams. It was just such the unique situation that this team played under in the new CIF format, where you're not even replaced by prior years, replaced by that year's quote unquote competitive equity formula that they use. And so, you know, no doubt had this team played in the old setup, I think everyone you talked to, pretty sure we would have won a championship, right? And so, right, it seemed like that's how you get in the discussion. Well, you can't be one of the greatest unless you won it all. but it's playing different set of rules, right? And so that's what's really tricky. And but it makes for great discussion, great fodder. And after our awards banquet, our football banquet, some of the guys got online or on our group text, and they started doing. You can project matchups on match preps. So they did this year's team against all our great teams, and this year's team, according to Cal Preps, would win. Now you can discuss. I saw some of the guys from the 2019 team after graduation where they were joking around, "Hey, coach, what about us? What are you going?" And there was another great team that didn't win. And I go, "Hey, well, you guys have the O-line that might have given this team a lot of trouble." And, so that's what's fun about it. And you can compare. And when you have so many good teams, very few schools can even have discussions like this, right? And usually it's, oh, wait, the 84 team was hands down the best because blah, 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 blah. At Rio, we can have this discussion, and there's arguments on both sides. And
Well, what hurts the discussion is that the older we get, the better we were, right?
Exactly.
We think we're really good at 20 years old. Oh yeah, I was really good a couple of years ago. But when we turn like 40, we're like, no, we could have beat everyone.
Come on, yeah. We would have blown those teams out. Yeah, and so I hope as part of the RHP family, everyone feels supportive no matter what year they played here of past teams, last year's team, and future's teams. Whatever it is, hopefully everyone feels pride in those teams and that we can have a discussion. It's a fun discussion. And we haven't even, brought in the 8-man teams. How do you compare those to our 11-man era? And that'd be a whole nother discussion because,
Mark, this podcast is going to be the Saturday morning coffee shop in a small town. That's what this podcast is going to be like, and all year.
Just like Hickory, right? In Hoosiers.
Exactly. I could already see John Lee or Jeff Fairley or Paul Clark right now typing an angry worded email to you in the podcast, but I love it. Let's do it.
We should just have a roundtable and bring it in. Yeah, let's go. And, we can't compare some of those teams prior to the 11-man era, but hey, the algorithm's the algorithm. What do I have to say? It's
algorithm. Let's settle this thing on the field. Hey, Mark, so you mentioned your season has officially started. I mean, the work goes in. First of all, to help the fans, what are kind of the restrictions? Can you practice, 5 days a week starting now? When can you practice a full week? What's the summer layout for you guys?
Yeah, not a whole lot of restrictions. The only kind of written in stone restriction from CIF is you have to have 14 days consecutive off. And so as long as you do that sometime in the summer between your last day of school and your first practice in August, then you're fine. We schedule it so the guys come 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and they're coming 3 hours. Weight room time is kind of staggered up by groups, but they're on campus 3 hours, and that includes practice, lifting, running, and meetings. And then we give them the weekends off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, kind of recuperate and enjoy your summer. We think the guys, you want to enjoy your summer as a high school kid too. So, and it allows them to go, out of town if they want to do or whatever. Our guy Ryan McCulloch, he's taken several recruiting trips over those weekends, so it works out for a guy like him, and future RHP recruitable football players too, to do that, and gives the staff a weekend off too. So that's how we have it set up.
So are you going early mornings or afternoons so guys can do some jobs and stuff, or what?
Yeah, we do afternoons, so guys can work. If anyone needs to do summer school or wants to do summer school, they can do that in the morning. And then it also leads into 7-on-7s. So rather than doing morning and coming back, they just go right into it. Or if they're coaching in KYL, which a lot of our guys will do 1 or 2 days a week, they can go to practice and then go to coaching right after that. So we just, even though it's hot, and we still think mornings, afternoons work out best schedule-wise. And it's toughen them up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the time of the year you'll be practicing anyway. So here's a serious question. I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but what on earth does a team that run the ball 95% of the time, what do they do in a 7-on-7, and explain how 7-on-7 works for those who don't know?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we do not put as big of emphasis on that as other programs for the reason you just mentioned. We're throwing the ball 10, 15% of the time, maybe on a certain game, 20%, but it's usually less than a quarter of the time, right? We got a guy who can sling it this year, good wheels in Armando Carbajal. So maybe we'll throw a little more, maybe not, but we're not going to veer too far from our base core philosophy of, good things happen when you run the ball, and you can control the game, control the tempo, and that's what we're going to always do. So our offense doesn't, we work on our play action and our spread game, but yeah, we'll be running play action when no one does that on 7-on-7. Usually it's just hike the ball and send 5 deep, and like, okay, you can do that, but that means you have five men in the block, right? And you're not gonna have, under 2.5 seconds to get that ball off. Yet they'll sit back there patting for 5 or 6 seconds and then sling it. It's like, so it's not real football, right? And so offensively, we just try to run our stuff. Same thing on defense. We're running our stuff. We're one of the few teams that will actually blitz, because we want to work on what we're actually going to work on, right? And you can't blitz and get the QB. You just blitz and then take a knee when you cross the line of scrimmage or whatever. But we want to do what we're really going to do. And so, truth be told, we probably lose most of our 7-on-7s, and it's always a handshake at the end. Hey, see you in the fall. Congratulations, see you in the fall. You just beat us in flag football, but it's okay.
That's pretty much what it is. You get your work on your coverages. There's no rushing of the passer. It's basically the 4 down linemen for most defenses. You guys run a unique 3-3-5, so someone's always coming. So if you do blitz, you just to execute your defense, you send a guy, but as soon as he, he declares himself or he takes a knee, and the center snaps the ball, and then you got backs and receivers. So it is unique, but it does help you guys, Mark, in the sense of most teams now do run a spread attack. So it's really good reps for you guys defensively.
Yeah. Well, offensively, it's not really what we do. Defensively, it is what we're going to do, and we're going to see a ton of it. And so it's good for that, good from the defensive side of the ball to get those reps and live reps, and work on your stuff and work out the kinks of your coverage. Work out guys who might not always get reps in practice, but you can throw whoever you want out there in 7-on-7 and backups, potential backups, and just really get work. For us, it's about getting work in for those guys and getting better. We don't play. We're always competing and going after it, but if we lose a 7-on-7, we're not upset about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And help me out here, Mark, with who did you say you guys are playing or have scheduled 7-on-7s with?
So we have a 4-way with Baldwin Park, which I don't even know the other teams, Baldwin Park and 2 others, which will be, you play every team once. And then we have La Cañada. That's Wednesday. La Cañada is on Thursday over at their place. And that's just the 2 of us, which is what we prefer. We prefer just 2 teams, less waiting around. It's you don't treat it like the Super Bowl. It's just, all right, we're out here trying to get better. And so we do that. And then we have Bosco Tech, La Cañada again, both at home, to round it out. So I think we'll end up with 4 or 5, just 7-on-7 days. Yeah.
Nice. And when did you say you will be taking this 2-week break? Will it be early August, maybe in July?
No, it's at the second, mid-July to early August. We actually give them 3 weeks.
Oh,
but,
good.
Yeah.
Nice and refreshed. Hopefully, do a little running and stuff at home.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Weight room is still open. They can lift. They can run on it's non-mandatory running, but they'll and it's player-led teams at Rio, and so they'll come down and they'll make sure their guys, if they're in town, they're running and lifting and so forth. So that's good.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you mentioned Ryan McCulloch. I mean, he's really the elephant in the room. He's your big stud. Has had a great career at Rio already. If you follow him on Twitter, I mean, he posts. You do a great job of posting his accolades. What a special young man to go through this Rio program. I've been impressed with just how he carries himself and how, he's the biggest man on campus, but yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know it. He's just one of the guys, and academically he has excelled and given himself a lot of options in college. He has, the Boise States, the Mountain West type schools, the Pac-12 schools, but he's also got 3 Ivy League offers now?
3 Ivy League offers, and this might be breaking news, and I don't know if Ryan's announced it yet, but Rice is going to offer them too, and they're like kind of the Stanford of Texas, a very high academic school. So yeah, you don't see a lot of guys with that breadth of offers, from the high academic Ivy League schools down to Pac-12 schools, to Mountain West schools, kind of. So it's a credit to Ryan, the work he's put in the classroom, of course, and then, training on the field and so forth. And the coolest thing about all that, and this could be a whole nother podcast, but how impressed these coaches are with Ryan, just how he comports himself, how he handles himself, talking to different coaches who come on campus to meet him. And he just does a great job representing himself, his family, and of course, Rio Hondo Prep and our football program. So that's been fun to be a fly on the wall, sitting in there and listening and being a part of all that's been really fun.
Well, and it's really awesome that you have kind of a guy that you can be show as an example to up and coming students or students or parents even who are like, well, can my son, if he comes to Rio, can he play at the next level? Well, he's going to be challenged great academically and can excel there. And then obviously the proof there with his athletic accolades, but man, Ivy League offers, Cal Berkeley, that's no easy school to get into. Colorado. I mean, he's got some fun decisions here to make, and we wish him nothing but the best. What a leader for you and your football team, Mark. Yeah.
He and his family, his mom and dad, they're going to make a great decision. Wherever he ends up, it's going to be, I totally trust that they're going to make a great decision on that. And you mentioned, for future RHP students, letting them know. And I think, let's say Ryan was at another school. I don't think he puts the film out that he did with us, right? And because it shows him doing so many different things, just dominating on both sides of the ball, and his film just popped. And you added that, just his interpersonal communication, the training that he's received at Rio with that as well. And then the academics, which, his grades speak for themselves. People are just super impressed with this guy. And when they meet him, they only get more impressed. They say they've seen his film. And so I think it's a great setup. And he's not one of 30 guys at Modern Day who's getting recruited and whatever. He's the guy. So people come just, they want to know about him, right? And he's, even though they say they're just visiting campus and whatever, but it's enabled us to, really focus on him. And if we have a handful of guys like that, get their stuff out via Huddle and Twitter and so forth, and texting these coaches and just working that to get them in a spot like that. But it's all Ryan. I'd say I'm 2% of the equation here. It's all Ryan and the work he's put in. And the size, dude. I mean, size and speed. We've had a ton of great football players, right? But as there's a Utah coach who was on campus, and Ryan walked in, and he looked at him. He goes, "You're a big MFer, aren't you?" Like, and,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's part of my French coach, and it's all good. So people want to come and see him in person, right? Because he looks so dominant on film, and then you see him in person, he stacks up to what he looks like, and it's like, oh man, he's the real deal.
Well, this pod isn't going to be, the Ryan McCulloch podcast, but we are going to give him a lot of attention this year because he does have the big college offers. And again, it's not just all about his athletics. He really is a guy of character. He sums up what a care is. Mark, you told me a funny story in baseball season. He just gets to the plate and destroys baseballs. He hit a grand slam in the Chadwick game. And you told me some information about where that ball landed. Cause I jokingly asked you when I saw the clip on Twitter, man, where did that ball land? And you told me.
Yeah, it landed in the back of his dad's truck. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. But and you mentioned it. Ryan's a great team guy. The fact that he puts so much into baseball, and he's just a real guy. And he wanted to be at graduation tomorrow night. Last night, even though he's flying up to Cal this weekend on a recruiting visit, and they explained like they wanted to come up a day early because I want to be with my guys, and they totally got that. And I think Ryan recognizes, his guys, the seniors graduating, the guys in his current class will be on next year's team. They helped him get where he is too, and he appreciates those guys as well. And so it's just a really cool thing to see that.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, that's can't say enough about him. Now for the audience, because we see your posts on Twitter, Mark. I mean, there's always a college coach down there at Rio Hondo Prep. Now it seemed like every day for a couple of weeks. When these coaches come to campus, how long are they there? Who do they talk to? Just take the audience into kind of a coach's visit there to Rio Hondo Prep, 5150 Farna Avenue.
Yeah, so they're usually reach out, either have my number or via Twitter and say, hey, coach, can I come by? And how it's set up, you're supposed to come by and just visit the kids on your campus, right? And they know, we know, and it doesn't have to be said, who they want to see, right? And so we make sure that they bump into each other, and then have whatever time they need to discuss. I do not want to sell anybody out or say anything. But they have all the time they need, and it's whatever they need from that perspective, and they do a good job feeling them out, talking to them, and just establishing that relationship. And then I always appreciate how they want to get insight from myself about Ryan, kind of behind the scenes. And it's funny, they'll ask like, man, is there anything wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this guy? What am I missing? And it's like, no, man, there's nothing wrong with them. And so, yeah. And so the time, it just depends. It's a range.
Because there's protocols and rules and things that these coaches have to follow when they are looking at players and recruiting and such. And so, there's a certain way to do things just to make sure every box is checked. But I want to ask from a program standpoint, Mark, I don't know that we've had this many college coaches on Rio's campus before. What are some of the questions they ask you, not just about Ryan, but about the Rio Hondo Prep program? Have they heard of Rio before? Are they impressed with the campus? Is it kind of like, are there questions like, what are some of their thoughts?
No, that's a great point. Yeah. So they'll come on. They always love the campus. Like, man, it's so cool tucked in this neighborhood here. They'll say stuff like that. And then with the campus really modernizing, beautification of the whole campus, right? Finishing off with the turnaround and entrance plaza that's finishing up. It's become a really beautiful campus. And so they're always impressed with that. Usually show them the weight room, team room. And obviously it's scaled down, right? It's not St. John Bosco size, or it's not Bishop Goldman, right? But it's the same thing, just smaller. And they go, oh, you got a great setup. They'll say stuff like that. This is a great setup. And then they'll ask about the program. It's like, man, you have a small school, right? And I'll explain it. And I always like to tell them about the youth program that feeds us, because I think that kind of explains kind of our success, right? The youth program, and then we're the only tackle football middle school in the San Gabriel Valley. And so I make sure to throw that in just to let them know, guys who come here, they've been playing football for 5-6 years, sometimes before high school. And Ryan was one of those guys. And so that's a reason for our kind of sustained success. And then I'll tell them, yeah, we've been in the playoffs 6 years in a row. And they're like, wow. And so they're always impressed by that. And then, one of the coaches was like, hey, well, tell me about your competition level. And then after you could pull in those Cal Preps ranking, well, there's 700 something teams in the state. We're 100 something, right? And then mentioned that Charter Oak game, like I said earlier, is paying huge dividends as far as that stuff goes. And he told me to beat them, and they're like, what? A lot of times they're either heading to Charter Oak or just come from Charter Oak, and they have 10, 11 recruitable guys, right? 3-star and up guys. And they're like, you beat them? And so that's done a lot. Yeah.
Watch that
yeah,
film.
Yeah. Watch the film. Tell me who the best player on the field was. And, and that's done a lot for our credibility, right? We talked about that. Yeah, it would have been great to win a championship in Division 13 or whatever. But I don't think we would have got doing that. Wouldn't have got us the credibility that being Charter Oak, who's, pretty much as far as college talent, the best program, them and Almont in the San Gabriel Valley. Maybe Muir, you could send them there, but and one of the best schools in all of Southern California for producing that kind of talent. So that went a long way. But yeah, they love hearing about it. They love hearing about our brand of football. And you get these coaches, you can talk all day, right? Football, right? So it's fun.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's what the podcast is for too. What Mark, who are some of the coaches, I should say, the schools that have been on campus the past couple of months?
Man, so I'm going to leave some out, but you mentioned Cal, Colorado, Washington State, Utah from the Pac-12, Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, UC Davis.
Wow.
Columbia, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Rice, Sac State came down. I'm probably missing some, but a lot. Yeah, a lot.
But a lot of these schools, they know where Rio is. They know about the success of the program. It may take a little refreshing of the mind, but I want to tell a story about when Todd and I, your brother, were in the College World Series as fans back in 2008, my summer graduation present. We went out there for 10 days. And if you remember, Fresno State that year made quite a national championship run. So we were kind of pulling for Fresno State. And in the middle of the World Series, we saw on the Jumbotron, they showed Pat Hill, the Fresno State football coach.
Right.
And so Todd and I were talking, and somehow he convinced me, he said, hey, you need to go say hello to Pat Hill. So I went over there, walked behind home plate. I waited between innings, and I walked over and I said, Coach Hill, it's a tremendous honor. I went to Rio Hondo Prep. We're big fans of the program. We're from the LA, Los Angeles, back in Rio Hondo Prep. And he shook my hand. He says, hey man, Matt, good to meet you. And then he took 1 second, like to think, and he goes, that's more of the Pasadena area, isn't it? And I went, whoa, Pat Hill knows where Rio Hondo Prep is.
Yeah.
So that was back in 08. Now all these coaches know. And it's not just that little school at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Right. It's cool. And it's great for our program for years to come, just help building on the tradition and getting them on campus. So when we do have a guy or guys who can play at the next level, this is help paving the way for that even further. And it's great to be able to tell kids that care kid who has, we will. We'll take care of you. We'll get you, if you got what it takes, we'll get you there.
Yeah. Well, a couple more things here, Mark. You mentioned about down on campus. If you would paint a picture for some of the new additions that maybe alumni wouldn't recognize, whether it's, the baseball field, the entrance, you talked about the weight room. Are those TVs up and running? I mean, take us behind the scenes.
Yeah. So the entrance and all that, first, the softball field's been redone, and that's beautiful. Then you would drive down and kind of old field 2, which is still planning to be used for, we're going to put a basketball court on there. That's not done yet, but eventually that'll get there. And then you go down the back 40 parking lot has all been redone. And that looks really nice. But the highlight's kind of the turnaround plaza and entrance plaza courtyard, where if you can imagine the old concession area. So that's going to be, and there was a basketball court there. So that's all now an outdoor eating area with shade. They're not there yet, but we're bringing in mature trees, in 5 trees. And then that'll provide shade and obvious ambiance. And then a big tree in the middle of the turnaround. So a great drop-off pickup spot. And then our new security gate, security fencing going across. So during the school day, you want to come on campus, you're going to have to get buzzed in, but it's all done really well. And tied in the brick at the entrance of the school coming off of Farna. And we have a brick facade kind of on the new entrance, new turnaround. and that went with our brick backstops on field 1, which was all redone at the same time. So it all kind of ties together really beautifully. Then you mentioned the weight room. Yes, the weight room is up and running. We can work out 24 guys at a time, and which is tremendous. And it's been a huge blessing. And our guys, so 24 between 2 shifts of 24, we can get everyone in there. JV, varsity, everyone done in 2 hours. Let's say in the summer. So that's awesome. And then that's connected to a team room, which will do all our meetings. All told, there's 3 big screens, 55 to 72 inches, and they're all up, operational. The sound's going, which guys love. And yeah, and of course the new weights from Rogue Fitness and all that are perfect, and our guys love being in there. Yeah, and we can't get them out of there. We have a built-in filtered water system, so they can filter bottle filling station. They can fill that up anytime. We also have a fridge in there stocked with muscle milk shakes, protein bars. So after workouts, they all can load up on protein to replenish. And then that's it. A door leads right out onto the field. And so the field is obviously
the windows, right? Aren't there windows out looking on the field?
Yeah, beautiful. Redid the windows. So 5-foot high windows looking out on the field. There's 5 of those that are across them. You can imagine while you're lifting, looking out on the field, and it really ties in the green space to the weight room. And it really works well together. You know, it's just, it's turned out really above and beyond what we even thought it could be.
Yeah, coming a long way since that hot shed underneath the scoreboard with 1 bench press and you know.
and oh, I didn't mention that we have 4 split unit AC units, and so it's the best most air conditioned room on campus. And so you walk in there, even if you're working outside in the sun, you walk in there, you feel good, man.
Love it.
You want to go to work. And so
got a lot of reasons to get guys in there. It sounds like the TVs, the AC, the drinks. I mean, hey, let's get to work.
There's no excuse, guys.
Yeah.
You have no reason to go anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. Take care of that room, fellas. Take care of it. Leave it way better than you found it. That's outstanding. Exactly. Well, Mark, we'll have to continue to post videos and pictures of all these things, just so to keep those who are, you know, out of state and away, keep them involved and intrigued. Is there a website or anything, Mark, where, you know, you can get gear like this? We're both wearing our RH football shirts. Is there an official Rio Hondo merchandise place yet?
There should be, and I think it would be a great fundraiser for our school. But right now, no, there's not. So if you want to buy it, you got to just go on campus. And a lot of the stuff we sell in Sportline, the student store there on campus. And then some of the stuff, the football, we sell football only stuff that you got to get through. Just talk to me or someone.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, you've always been great with that. And hey, it'll give
and
people
we'll sell them at the games.
At the game, give you a reason to go down to campus, check out the weight room, check out, you know, we're going to set up some little donation. You know, I'm sure people want to give and support the program too. So we're going to set all this up throughout the podcast here, Mark. This is pod number 1. I'm very excited about where we're going. In the middle of the summer, when I catch up with you, I think that's when we'll break down the schedule. But we must first and lastly here talk about game number 1 on the schedule, August 26th, home game against the El Monte Lions, your 2019 state champions, if I remember correctly. They're coming to Care Park. That's game 1, about 2.5 months away. What are your thoughts on the big game?
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Great way to kick off the season. That's a game we wish we could have played. Had we won our quarterfinal game, we would have played them in the semis that year. So it'll be great. It'll be a great initial test. It's at home, so everyone's going to be hyped up. New coaching staff over there. I believe it's from Sure High School. And so their double wing power run game is now a spread attack, which will be interesting. And assuming that the coaching staff does what they did at their prior stop. And so that'll be fun. And nothing like a backyard brawl.
No, absolutely. You guys are Arcadia. Technically you play in Irwindale, but it's right across the way from El Monte. So that's definitely, hey, you took down Charter Oak, you've taken down Arroyo, you've taken down Arcadia. I think it's, Alumni Lions sound like a good opportunity to do something to take down another giant.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. Well, Mark, good luck to you and the boys as the football season is officially here. We're 2.5 months away, but never too early to talk football. Again, congrats to the 2022 senior class and to the 2023 seniors. It's your time as well as the underclassmen. So, Mark, we're excited about this podcast. I will have you back on in July for our midsummer update. Good luck in the passing tournaments. Good luck with the preparation, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for the season to kick off.
Thanks, Matt. And while you're here, if any alumni who's in town right over the next month or whatever during their summer, they're coming back home, you want to come down and check out the weight room or see you around campus, feel free, connect with us and or even don't connect, just show up. Someone will be down there and we'd happy to show you around and take care of you that way. So once a care, always a care. We'll take care of you. So
amen to that, man.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm looking forward to our continued visits.
Yes, sir. A charge to keep I have, right? We're going to recite that throughout the season. And I thought it was very fitting for the official title of this podcast. Mark, thanks again.
I love it.
Talk to you in July, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Well, episode 1 of the Charge to Keep podcast is officially in the books. I appreciate head coach Mark Carson joining me on this new adventure. He will be here for most of our episodes. When we get to the regular season starting August 26th, he will be on here after games as we recap the most recent game and look ahead to the upcoming opponent on the schedule. But for now, we are just going to be talking about the football program, what's going on with practices and opponents upcoming and just the schedule, things of that nature. We might even look back in time. It's the history books or some previous teams and talk about that. It all depends on how much fan interaction we get here from alumni. The next episode of the Charge to Keep podcast will be in the middle of July, just kind of a midsummer update. You guys heard today kind of the summer schedule, what's going to be going on the next few months. And then once August hits, the plan is to come on here weekly as we build up to that August 26th game against the El Monte Lions. We may have some random guests on here, maybe some administration, some former players. I'm looking at some coaches. We may bring back on Coach Smoke from Pasadena Poly here at some point in the summer to talk with him about the Rio Hondo Prep football program and how his team is doing as they will be facing off with Rio here, I think week 3 or 4, somewhere there early in the season. But anyway, big things ahead for the Charge to Keep podcast. I'm so excited about this, and I hope you guys will join us weekly once we hit August, but definitely tune back in middle of July for episode 2, as we will have a mid-season update of the Rio Hondo Prep football program. Guys, thank you for joining me today. New adventure, new logo, I haven't even implemented the intro music and speech from our good friend, Dr. Chris Alba. We'll have all that probably by the middle of July, but I wanted the first episode just to get out the day after the Rio Hondo graduation as kind of a turning of the page to say thank you to those seniors and kind of look ahead to the upcoming season. Guys, as a reminder, Rio Hondo Prep football, past and present, always be gracious in defeat and humble in victory, as we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.